So I got this Branson tractor, and it's a 22OH, and I have the BH90 backhoe on it. And I ordered this thumb kit from Titan that's supposed to work with BH90 tractors, and apparently Branson tractors are different from all other BH90s in that the actual dipper arm here, width-wise, is almost 4 inches, whereas most other BHs are, at least in the 90 class, are about 3 to 3¼ inches. So when you get this kit, obviously it won't fit because the bracket itself is not wide enough. So I ended up cutting all of the tubing out and all of the support structure. So you can see it's all ground down. And what I'm waiting on is I'm waiting on my manufacturing company that's cutting me some custom stuff to get me a piece of plate that's going to go in here, and then some new tubing that I'm going to insert in here, and I'll weld it up around the insides and weld it up on the outsides. And then here's the jaw itself, and this part of the jaw here is actually supposed to go on the outside here. So as you can see with mine, doesn't work. The jaw doesn't fit because of these interior nubs. Now I have one or two choices here. I could grind those nubs down and it would work, or I could cut this in half and make it so that this is wider in and of itself by widening it so that I don't have to cut those nubs off. I haven't decided exactly how I want to do that yet, but I also had to get longer bolts and everything else, which I have coming, in order to connect everything. But as you can see on this end, how the difference, this is tight when you put it in from the factory, and you can see the difference in the width that I have here on the Branson versus like the Kubota or the Coyote or, you know, John Deere, so on and so forth. So this is redneck engineering. Right now I'm just kind of doing a mock-up, so I got everything in here, and then I just got to take some measurements and get all my steel and everything else, and then I'm going to re-weld all this up, and hopefully it'll work. We are working on this Branson tractor, and we got this Titan Industries thumb kit that doesn't work, and like I said, I had to cut out all of the support structure. And so I actually found a place locally that's a machine shop, and they were able to get some 1.5 inch round stock, and they actually machined it for me to my specifications. So now I have this round stock, and what I've done is I've taken a piece of it here and I cut it off, and I did a little cleanup on it. Oop, didn't mean to do that. And so now you see I got this piece here, and this is gonna go right in here like this, and get that in there just like that, and then I can weld this up, and it'll look real pretty on both sides. Get a nice bead there, get a nice bead there, and then this is the steel bolt that holds the jaw on, and that'll go in just like that. Okay, so the work continues, and so now I got these two support pieces just tacked in. This is the tube that the bolt is going to go through. Nice big bolt here, gonna go through there, and that holds the jaw on, and I got this piece welded together. It's 2 pieces of plate steel. I kind of built it up a little to come up over this ledge right here. So now I'm going to take the whole thing off, weld all this up, and put it back on and see if we can't get it working. So here we go. And so the final part of this little saga. So got everything welded up, got it painted, had to cut a notch out here in my steel to accommodate the crossbar so I could get a little more functionality out of it. So I also had to modify this corner here. I had to cut off the factory tabs that were on here, which were pretty much useless anyway because they don't make implements for this backhoe in the first place, so there'd be no point in even having that. So I cut that off. And now I'm just going to set this over here, hopefully, and do a little reassembly. So I also had to make a new pin because the pins that I had didn't fit. They were too short, but the factory ones are too long, so I had to cut it down and weld it. So now got that in there. Grab this pin here. Started, that lined up, and there you go. So as you can see, got it to work. And what a pain in the ass it was, but in the end, at least I'll have a thumb. So this is for anybody who has a Branson and you have a BH90 backhoe on it. You're not going to be able to find a thumb. They don't exist. Branson doesn't make them. And all the aftermarket companies only make them for the BH100s and the BH150s. And when Titan told me it was a restock fee plus I had to pay the shipping in order to return it, in the end I would have gotten like $70 back on a $170 order. So it wasn't worth it for me to send it back. I just went ahead and modified it. And now I have a working thumb. The only thing I gotta do is get actual wrenches that'll fit these 1 3/8 nuts, because I don't have a 1 3/8 wrench. So I'm off to the auto parts store to pick me up a couple of wrenches. But other than that, it works. I mean, the only real downside to this is getting it out of the way. I actually have to take this cross arm out pin a little and smooth it, but I'll do that some other time. I'm not worried about it. I can take that out, and then this will swing up, and now you can see why I had to remove those tabs and make a little modification right here, just because this piece was hitting and it wouldn't allow it to go up all the way. But if I hold this with one hand, put this pin back in, and now you can see it's up out of the way. So it's not the ideal situation, but all things being equal, I'm not totally dissatisfied with it. So there you go. The modification of a Titan Industries thumb for a tractor that it doesn't fit on, now it fits.